Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench on this November 30th. It's a very cold and chilly day. In fact, let me show you just how cold and chilly it really is here. It is, can you see that? 16 degrees. Says feels like -3. Guess I'm going to be staying in the apartment most of the day. What I have on the table today, as you can see, is a Saito engine. It is an FA45 Mark II engine. Now, if you are familiar with Saito engines at all, as I am, you will know by the color of this box and the fact that this is a 45 Mark II that this engine dates back probably to the late 80s. In fact, I think the one review article I saw from Peter Chin on this particular engine was from 1988. Very nice year for the hobby, I believe, because that was the year I entered the hobby. So, what I'm going to do here is show you this beautiful package. We're going to go through it, and then I'm going to do a look inside, and I've got a very specific reason why I'm going to do a look inside. So let me take the engine out. Let me just take everything that came out of this box out and put it on the table and show you if I believe that this is a complete engine. So we have the exhaust stub. Now it's been many years since it's been a few years since I've had a perfectly known brand new in-box Saito 45 engine. I'm pretty sure that this should have come in a bag, but then we've got the choke mechanism and we've got the bag of tools, and this is it's opened and it is missing the feeler gauge. So aside from the feeler gauge being missing and this not being in the exhaust stub, not being in a bag, I believe this is complete and correct. And here's our FA45 decals, a little bit worn on the edge, a little bit crinkled there. The instructions, I don't remember how they were packaged. It seems to me that most times these instructions should have been in a bag also, but at this age, I'm not sure. Maybe Saito was just kind of tossing them in like this. So we've got some interesting things here. I got some small piece of paper here that just says, and I can't validate whether this actually came with this engine or not. It says, warning notice, read the instructions carefully before using this engine. Use only castor oil based fuel. This engine will not operate properly on synthetic oil fuels. That's also a tribute to the age of this particular engine. So here is the exploded parts breakdown and part numbers for the Saito 45 Mark II in both Japanese and English. So you know this is really old if it's got both Japanese and English. And then of course here's the instruction manual. Instructions for FA45 Mark II ABC 4-stroke cycle engine. And this is also Japanese and English. So like I said, the only thing that I know to be missing from this is the feeler gauge, which is unfortunate, but it's not a big deal because I've got probably another one just like that. So here's the engine itself. Now this bag does seem to be original. I've held plenty of those bags in my life before, so that seems to be quite original. I am going to zoom in just a hair more. So these did not come with a glow plug, or at least these early ones didn't. This engine turns over silky smooth. Perfect. Perfectly smooth. And now I'm going to dismantle some of this engine. I am going to take excuse me, the carb off, the rear cover off, and I'm probably going to take the head rocker covers off. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I want to make a point. And it's a point that I've made several times in the past, and I think the last time I made this point was on my OSFT 160 video, where I was mentioning how you can tell if an engine is new in box and all that good kind of stuff. And it's that if it feels silky smooth. Now this engine, granted, I am saying this is a new in-box engine. And if it's from 1988, it's 35 years old. Period. I mean, it's just how old it is. It's a 35-year-old engine that's never seen a drop of fuel. So this is new in box. It feels silky smooth and perfect. And I'm always interested in what the heck kind of preservative oil do they put, or how do engine companies finish their engines such that over the course of years, I have no idea how well this has been preserved, how it was stored, and I've opened many new in-box engines that were 30 plus years old before, and they were all perfect. And that's the point I was going to make, was that if somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, I think this is new in box, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel smooth. It feels kind of gritty or grungy or whatever," then it's not. Either it's not new in box or somebody put oil in it and did something to it, because every single truly new in box engine that I've ever had has been from Saito and OS for sure, has been silky smooth and perfect inside. So I want to look, because the last couple of engines I cleaned for another customer, I used Ballistol, and that oil is really nice because it's clear in color, and once you put it on there, it leaves a very thin film, that's hardly perceptible, but I bet you anything it's very similar to what these guys do. So I mean, look inside this engine here. It's perfect. Now I just touched it, so now I've contaminated the inside of this engine. What I'm finding, I think, is interesting is that, oh, I don't have a flashlight here. Stand by, let me get a flashlight real quick. What I think is interesting is that I just saw, I don't know if that's going to make it better or worse. I see a dimple. It's at bottom dead center. I see a dimple on this connecting rod. Usually dimples, I'm not seeing it on the screen here, so I'm not sure if you're going to see it. Usually dimples to me seem to indicate, let's see if this is going to work here for that. Okay. Usually they indicate forward facing orientation. So I don't know, that one's interesting. We'll have to see. I don't know that I'll probably take the piston off here. Like I said, I'm only doing this because it's cold outside and I don't have anything better to do right now. But really simply just to make a point about what a new in-box engine should feel like. Now, my quandary would be, I touched that, so now I've got my skin oils on that connecting rod. Do I put oil in here or do I just leave it? What I should be doing is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some gloves on when I take this head off. Here we go, perfect. Look at that. So I've got a pair of these little latex gloves here. Let me put, not latex, I don't know what these Harbor Freight gloves are. I'm going to put a pair of these on. And I'm not doing this time simply to protect my skin. I'm doing this time to simply protect this engine. Man, I don't know, just don't know how well you can see down in there and see how perfect that bearing is. I mean, I don't see the remnants of any kind of oil. I just did a wipe in there. There's nothing that came out on my finger whatsoever. So I'm gonna, a lot of times these smaller engine, I guess, has got enough clearance here that I can use this extended or full length L wrench to loosen these things. One other thing I want to do, I'll probably take these rocker arms off, but I will maintain their exhaust and intake orientation, because I don't want to do a valve lash check, because I'm sure this is perfect from the factory. But I do maybe I won't take them off. It'll be easier to put it back together if I do take them off though. So what I'm going to do is when I take them off, I'm going to have the engine oriented like this. I'll put this one over here and this one on this side. Oh, it's got one thread still hanging on. Look at this. Pristine. So it does have this end is chamfered. So that's correct. Here's that little dot I was seeing. If you can kind of see that. I don't know if you can kind of see that punch mark or not. Maybe on this engine that denotes the back, but you can clearly see that that is not chamfered. And this side is. So I don't know if I'm going to take that out or not. I don't think I'm going to take that out. I don't know which one of these push rods came out of there, which one went where now. This one was from here. This one came over here. So I don't know. I am not seeing the evidence of any kind of oil on here whatsoever, but yet it's preserved perfectly. So what do they do? Somebody must know. Somebody must know what they do. All I know is I'm not the one that knows. Can I just put, see, I think I really have to take these things off now just because of the fact that the push rods came out. So let me get my handy dandy properly fitted screwdriver bit here. And this will also tell us, you know, were these torqued? Because I'm always harping on people, don't ever torque these things. Of course they're not torqued. They're just lightly. This side goes here, this side goes here. Now I'm going to put this back together with these gloves on. I didn't pull the piston out. I am not going to oil anything. Come on, I know I had that all the way unscrewed. We're going to leave it as pristine as possible. It's very dry in my apartment. That's got to be completely unscrewed. So I don't know that there's going to be much contamination at all. So the only reason I just pop those things out is just so I can put this thing back in place here. I want to take these screws out because that'll make it a little more challenging to seat this. So anyway, I don't know if you want to stick with me or not, or if I'm going to keep the cameras on. In fact, I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to shut the cameras off now, put this back together so I can focus entirely on this. But so this has been a look inside of a 35-year-old, brand new in box Saito engine that's never been molested at all. The point I'm making is why I did this is because brand new engines from OS and Saito, at least from those two companies. I'm not entirely sure as much about Enya because their carbs can tend to feel sticky out of the box anyway. But these things should be pristine. They should be smooth as silk. This carb is smooth as silk. I mean, everything should be perfect from these two manufacturers for sure. So that was the whole reason and purpose for me doing this. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And now it's so cold outside, it's going to be a while before I get to run this thing. That's the problem. Thank you for watching.